climate justice on occupied land. No climate justice on occupied land. No. Anticapitalista, 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 anticapitalista.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about Greta Thunberg, who is back in the news because she's led another massive climate change protest in Europe that is getting attention because one man decided to rush onto stage and to try to snatch the mic from Greta because apparently, according to him, Greta was making climate change about politics. And he didn't really like that. And again, this is a fascinating story to me because once again, this shows you how the left has built a coalition of people who are all united against, I don't know what they're really united against. I guess they're all united for communism, right? They're all united for globalism, okay? In their fight against the oppressive forces that are on this planet, right? And because of that, you have weird coalitions of people that otherwise wouldn't agree with each other or really have much to do with each other coming together under this kind of solidarity, right? That's what it is, okay? As you saw at the beginning of this video, I played a video of some protests that are going on in Amsterdam, the same protests that Greta Thunberg was leading, and you saw Palestinian flags, right? So apparently the Free Palestine movement and the climate movement are one and the same somehow, right? They are connected and they're related. Even though I don't think climate change is what the Palestinians should really be worried about the most right now. But again, that is a part of the climate activism protest is also Free Palestine as well too. Okay, and I've talked about this before. But again, Greta was on stage and a man decided that enough was enough. I'm here for climate change. I'm not here for all the other stuff that you're trying to shove down our throats, the other part of the agenda. Take a look.
We have not been listening. The people in power have not been listening.
I have come here for a climate demonstration, not a political view. This is climate demonstration.
Calm down. Calm down. Calm down. No climate justice on occupied land. 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 I think we are running out of time, but I think many of you have heard me speak before. You know my message. It's still the same, and it's going to be the same for the coming years as well. So we don't want to take up too much of your time. Thank you.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Now, here's the deal. I have no idea what the hell does no climate justice on occupied land means. I have no clue whatsoever. It's almost like these people are speaking another language, okay? There really is a new language of wokenese, right? Because every time you look, I'm hearing some term or phrase where I have no clue exactly what they're trying to say or what they mean, okay? I guess what Greta's saying is that there is no climate justice in Palestine or something, or maybe you can't fight climate change unless you're pro-Palestine. I'm not sure exactly what the point is here or what she's trying to say. But let's read a little bit more about this incident because, again, what you have here is a mixing of movements where this is not as cohesive as some of these people think in regards to their solidarity with one another, right? In their pursuit of communism and Marxism, because that's all this really is, okay? They all come together saying, hey, you're oppressed, I'm oppressed. Why are you oppressed? Well, I'm oppressed because I don't like my genitals. I'm oppressed because I'm not white. I'm oppressed because I'm not Christian. I'm oppressed because I allegedly have a vagina. I'm oppressed because I like to sleep with the same sex. I'm oppressed because my land has been occupied. I'm an indigenous person, right? Again, they take all of these characteristics that really have nothing to do with each other, and they say, well, we're oppressed. And they all come together and say, well, we're one and the same, and we need to fight for the same thing, which is communism and Marxism, right? That's kind of how it works. But apparently that has some problems because fundamentally, right, there's going to be friction. Like, for example, when you try to make Muslims and, LGBTQ come together, right, and, be one and the same and fight for the same cause, that doesn't make sense because those groups are fundamentally opposed to each other ideologically, right? That's why I think Queers for Palestine is so weird, right? It's such a fascinating and weird movement. But again, this is what happens in 2023. It also shows you how powerful the ideology of Marxism, right, is in regards to the new form of cultural Marxism that is being pushed, how they can get all these groups that, again, really don't have much in common to come together and to fight for the same thing. It's really kind of fascinating to behold. So let's read here. Climate activist Greta Thunberg was briefly interrupted Sunday by a man who approached her on stage after she invited a Palestinian and an Afghan woman to speak at a climate protest in the Dutch capital. Thunberg was speaking to a crowd of tens of thousands when she invited the woman onto the stage. Quote, as a climate justice movement, we have to listen to the voices of those who are being oppressed and those who are fighting for freedom and for justice. Otherwise, there can be no climate justice without international solidarity, Thunberg said. Again, this is classic communist language, right? Man, when I was taking classes in college, we were learning about communism. I couldn't stand the word solidarity. I heard that word, read that word so much, couldn't stand it, right? So every time you hear it, I instantly recognize a communist, right, when they're speaking, okay? But as you see here, again, it's all about who's oppressed and who's not oppressed. Everybody's that's oppressed is on the same team, right? Getting to communism / Marxism is going to make the oppressed not oppressed anymore, right? It's going to solve their problem, okay? This is how they all get these people to come together. After the Palestinian and Afghan women spoke and Thunberg resumed her speech, a man came onto the stage and told her, quote, I have come here for a climate demonstration, not a political view, before he was ushered off the stage. Now, again, climate change is politics, right? I'm not sure exactly what this guy's talking about. I don't know how you say that the climate demonstration is not political, but talking about Israel and Palestine is, right? They're both 100% political, okay? So if you're there for climate, then clearly you're there for a political view, right? He just didn't like that political point of view, which again goes back to what I was saying about how, again, there's going to be friction when you try to bring all these groups together and say, well, if you support, trying to stop climate change, then you also have to support Palestine too, right? Like, those are two completely different things, right? I'm not entirely sure how you connect the two. Now, I have read about it because I do kind of understand their argument, but it doesn't make sense, right? Essentially, the argument is that Israel occupying Palestine doesn't allow them to have sustainable forms of, living, right? It actually blocks them from being able to address climate change and the environmental issues that are going on in that region, right? That's the argument that they're making. But again, I definitely think that, generally speaking, those are two distinct issues, climate change and Israel-Palestine. But again, for whatever reason, they're trying to connect them together. And it doesn't seem to work with some people. The man's identity was not immediately clear. He was wearing a jacket with the name of a group called Water Natuurlijke that was elected members in Dutch water boards. The Afghan woman, Sahar Shirzad, told the Associated Press that Thunberg allowed them to take the stage with her. Yeah, because she's in support of this. Quote, basically, she gave her time to us. Before Thunberg took the stage, the event was briefly interrupted as a small group of activists at the front of the crowd waved Palestinian flags and chanted pro-Palestinian slogans. She appeared undeterred and was later seen dancing behind the stage as the band played. Yeah, so this is just 10 days before a national election. Apparently, 70,000 people were there. This was the largest climate protest ever in the Netherlands, right? Now, again, you got other coalitions out there, right? That also, are involved in this stuff. Like, for example, let's read it here real quick. Quote, we live in a time of crisis, all of which are the result of the political choices that have been made. It has to be done, and it can be done differently. Organizer for the Climate Crisis Coalition said in a statement. While the coalition included the Fridays for Future Youth movement, protesters were all ages and included a large contingent of medics in white coats carrying a banner emblazoned with the text, quote, climate crisis equal health crisis. I'm a pediatrician. I'm here standing up for the rights of children, said Laura Sonneville. Children are the first to be affected by climate change. Tackling climate change is one of the key policy areas for political parties contesting the November 22nd general election. Quote, it is time for us to protest about government decisions, said Margie Wilgis, a Spanish teacher and youth coach. I hope this influences the election. Yeah, so again, what I tell you guys, this is what I tell you, okay? Everything is related to climate, right? The health crisis, climate crisis are the same, right? It's all the same. Palestine, Israel is about the climate, right? Everything is about climate, okay? Everything's about climate. Racism is about climate, right? We've heard about environmental racism, okay? Gender violence is about climate. Everything is about climate. It's truly amazing, right? How these woke groups, these communists all come together to, try to convince each other that they're all on the same team, okay? Which they kind of are for Marxism/communism. But I think they are all distinctly different, and I think that some of it is just really ignorance. What I don't understand is why these people don't go and protest in China. Oh, well, because they're communists, right? They're Marxists, okay? That's why they don't ever protest in China. That, and they know that if they protest in China, that they'll be locked up, right? That they won't see the light of day again, okay? They'll be in prison if they show up to Xi Jinping's palace and protested climate change over there because, again, the biggest polluter in the world is China, okay? But again, they won't go over there because they know what will happen. Also, again, they're communists, right? So they agree ideologically with each other, okay? So they leave China alone, right? They don't really have much to say about China, okay? They ain't not really screaming at the top of their lungs, but no. They're anti-capitalist, anti-West, right? White supremacy, whatever, right? These are the things they say. But again, they have nothing to say about the biggest polluter on the planet, China, who they just happen to align with ideologically. It tells you everything you need to know about this movement, right? It tells you everything you need to know about what they're actually really about. But hey, that guy that went on stage to snatch the mic from Greta, I think he needs to hit the gym, right? He needs to hit the gym because he let Greta kind of like manhandle him a little bit, right? He needs to, put on some muscle or something because it's not a good look to be a grown-ass man letting Greta Thunberg, handle you like that, right? I'm just saying, not a good look. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.